Hello students of class 8. Today I am going to do the chapter The Monkey's Paw. The Monkey's Paw is a very interesting story, and it is a very thrilling and adventurous story, and it can give you a feeling of satisfaction, a feeling of excitement while reading the story. Now, without, the night was cold and wet, but in the small parlor of Laburnum Villa, the blinds were drawn and the fire burned brightly. So without means if we consider the outside atmosphere, it was very cold and very wet, but inside it was not like that. In the small parlor, means in the small sitting room of Laburnum Villa, means the name of the house was Laburnum Villa. So in the small sitting room of Laburnum Villa, the blinds, means the curtains, were all drawn and the fire was burning brightly. Father and son were at sun, the former who possessed the ideas about the game involving radical changes. Now, in the sitting room, it was a scene that the father and the son was playing chess, and father was an expert of playing chess, and he was doing what? He was just changing the positions of the chessmen often, and putting his king into such sharp and unnecessary perils that it even provoked comment from the white-haired old lady knitting placidly by the fire. So he was taking risks with his king, and he was putting his king in so many dangers that means it seemed he wanted to win the game. That's why he was placing those chessmen in his own way, and he was so excited in doing so that it even provoked comment from the white haired lady. Means his wife was knitting coolly by the fire, and when his wife saw his the movement of the king and his way of playing the game, she also passed some comments. "Hark at the wind," said Mr. White, who, having seen a fatal mistake after it was too late, was amiably desirous of preventing his son from seeing it. So Mr. White wanted to divert the attention of his son, who was playing the game, and he pointed out and he said that he should listen. Hark at the wind means he should listen the sound of the wind. And it was a very fatal mistake for him. It was a very fatal mistake he had already made, and he was extremely desired as a lesson. As a matter of fact, he was in a very good natured mood. In a good natured mood, he wanted to change, or he wanted to stop Herbert or his son from noticing the problem which he had created on the board. He did not want Herbert to see it, otherwise he would win the game. But Herbert was also very clever. "I am listening," said the latter, stretching out his hand. "Check." So he just stretched out his hand and he has just said what? That check. Means the game was done more or less, and he also pointed out that he was listening to the wind. Means at the same time he had full concentration on the board. "I should hardly think that he would come tonight," said to his father with his hand poised over the board. So at that time Mr. White pointed out that he should hardly think, means he could not think that man would come that night, said his father with his hand. He just placed his hand on the board. "Mate," replied his son. So the son replied, "Mate," and the game was over. "That's the worst, living so far out," bawled Mr. White. And when the game was over, he was defeated by his son. He became very frustrated. At that time he shouted, or he was complaining about living so out, means on the outskirts of the town, living in a far away place. He was complaining about the place, that he did not like the place to live there. "Of all the beastly, slushy, out of the way places to live in, this is the worst." So out of the wild, slushy means wet, damp. Out of the way means out of the main area. If someone had to live in that area, the place was the worst. "The roads are torrent." The roads were very bad, and carts could not be driven properly. "I don't know what people are thinking about." Means there are other neighbors also, but he did not know what those neighbors were thinking about. "I suppose because of only 2 houses in the road are let, they think it doesn't matter." So on the road only 2 houses were tenanted. There were means people living as tenants in 2 houses. And as a matter of fact, he thought that they did not take it seriously. The way they were living, they were quite satisfied. Never mind, dear, said his wife soothingly. Perhaps you will win the next time. But his wife consoled him. His wife could understand why Mr. White was expressing such a frustration, because he had been defeated. So she comforted him by saying that perhaps he would win the next time. Mr. White looked up sharply just in time to intercept knowing glance between mother and son. So Mr. White looked sharply, means right at that point of time when mother and the son were looking at each other, means they were just making a type of fun of Mr. White, because they could understand that Mr. White was frustrated of the defeat. That's why he was telling such things. So he looked at them very sharply. Mother and son, the words died away on his lips, and he had a guilty grin in his thin grey beard. So the words died away on his lips, means he looked at the mother and the son, but he could not say anything. And his wife, ultimately he gave a laugh, a guilty laugh. Guilty laugh means he knew that he was caught. So he felt guilty, and that sort of laugh, he laughed at them, and it came out from his thin grey beard covered mouth. Never mind, dear, said his wife. There he is, said Herbert White, as heavy footsteps came toward the door. Now suddenly they could hear some sound of the heavy footsteps, and Herbert White pointed out that there he was. The old man rose with hospitable haste, and opening the door was heard condoling with the new arrival. So the old man rose with hospitable haste, means he was means the host of the house, and he was ready to welcome the guest. And so that type of hurry he showed, and he went there to open the door. And opening the door, he was heard condoling with the new arrival, means he was just expressing sympathy or to that person, and he was welcoming him. As the weather was bad till the man had come, so he was expressing some sort of consolation or sympathy with the man. Mrs. White coughed gently as her husband entered the room, followed by a tall, burly man, beady-eyed, of rubicund of visage. So Mrs. White coughed gently as her husband entered the room. Then he was followed by a tall, strong man, and then very sharp eyes and a brownish type of complexion. Sergeant Major Morris, he said, introducing him. He introduced the person as Sergeant Major Morris to everyone. The Sergeant Major shook hands and, taking the proffered seat by the fire, watched contentedly while his host go out whiskey and tumblers and stood a small copper kettle on the table. So the Sergeant Major shook his hands, and then he occupied the seat which was shown to him, and then he was watching everything in a very satisfied manner. And his host, who was there, Mr. White, he went down to bring whiskey and then tumblers, and then he also placed one copper kettle on the fire.